Hi there everyone, Lars back with another D&D discussion and a bit of review for Baldur's Gate 3, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers, because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends, and yes, you read that thumbnail right! Zyak the Horny Wizard is on his way to Baldur's Gate. This right here is a little experiment that I wish to run, seeing what it's like to take someone from the world of the tabletop RPG and stick them into the video game based on Dungeons & Dragons. Baldur's Gate is a really engaging and interesting attempt to take that feel of playing Dungeons & Dragons and put it into a video game where you can truly immerse yourself in the process of character building and setting yourself up on a quest and living vicariously through your character in this incredible fantasy world, making your own choices, making all kinds of friends, making all kinds of lovers and enemies in an attempt to cleanse yourself of the evil, vile worm that has been put through your eye. That scene just made me cringe so much. Woo! I've been enjoying getting into this game right here. I haven't gotten very far though, because I do wish to try an experiment, but it's an experiment that I will really only go through with if you, dear viewers, wish for me to go on this particular adventure. You see, the trouble is that this is not a channel about playing Dungeons & Dragons. I don't crack open the rule book and go through the minutia of different sentences, details, weapons, spells, how you can blend different classes and races together to get that perfect combination to make your character so OP. Instead, I approach Dungeons & Dragons from the perspective of a writer. What can you learn about characters, storytelling, world building, character progression, plot progression, and all of that stuff from playing Dungeons & Dragons. And at the same time, I give some hints from my own experience of playing D&D about how you can become a better player and a better dungeon master. The thing, though, is that those videos don't normally do very well here on this channel. There are a handful that have done really well, looking at the adaptations of D&D, which I've really enjoyed doing, and, strangely enough, my video on how to do romance in D&D. That one has been a real sleeper hit. But for the most part, it seems as though people haven't really been interested in my conversations about D&D and how it applies to writing and so forth. So what I want to do as an experiment, if people want me to go down this particular route, is to take a character of my own making, Zyak, and have him go on the quest to Baldur's Gate. And Zyak is actually a character that I've wanted to put into a real tabletop campaign. I just haven't had the chance yet because of, well, the other games I've been playing, the books I've been doing, and so forth. Zyak is an interesting character, and he's a character who I can't really put into Baldur's Gate because you, as the player, are basically supposed to insert yourself into the game Baldur's Gate, and I think that that's actually an issue with playing the game, that with the extensive physical creation of your character, that you can't put in something to be all like, well, this is my character's background. Here's the background story. I will gladly spend 3 hours of typing up the backstory, putting it on in, figuring out little bits of world-building detail, which could actually be really interesting for later on in the campaign. Well, yeah, that's not going to work when playing Baldur's Gate 3. You create your character, you as the player insert yourself into said character, and then you play through the quest. So it's not a true one-to-one translation of the tabletop experience where you fully come up with your character, with their backstory, you hand it on over to the Dungeon Master, and the Dungeon Master lets you know what's a go, what's a no-go, and incorporates that backstory into their own world building and campaign preparation. However, for this proposed project, what I want to do is I want to take the personality of Zyak and try to play the game as though he were indeed my character at the table. And yes, he is a horny wizard. Let me give you a little bit of background to Zyak, and maybe I can sell you on doing this particular project. Contrary to how he appears in Baldur's Gate 3, Zyak is actually meant to be a teenage wizard on the run. I did take some inspiration from Liam's character, Caleb, from Critical Role Season 2. I really enjoyed a lot of Caleb's experiences, his character progression, his background, and I was like, what if I took kind of that setup, but went in a different direction? What if instead of being a character who is absolutely mortified of the entire world and trying to escape the atrocities of his past, what if instead I took it from the angle of basically a kid who's all like, Mom, Dad, I do not want to go to church anymore. I do not want to follow your house rules anymore. I am an adult and I'm going to live my life the way I want to. That's basically the idea I had for Zyak, except to make it a bit more intense. He is escaping a cult of warrior wizards. Zyak was kidnapped as a very young kid and basically meant to be brainwashed into this cult of warrior wizards. These wizards are trying to overthrow the world order, the natural order, and the cosmic order in a grand revolution of unbridled magic and power. These guys have done some absolutely horrible things, and they're willing to go to any lengths possible in order to achieve their ends, including doing some of the worst things that any race in D&D is capable of. But all of that notwithstanding, Zyak has managed to remain a mostly good kid who did not want to go along with these things. He still remembers to some degree what it means to be home, what it means to be in a family. He's not sure if his family's alive or dead. He's always told that they're dead, but who knows in this crazy cult. And he's been forced to do some horrible things that he just does not want to do anymore. So Zyak, one night, broke free from the cult, from his master who had been brainwashing him, torturing him, training him. He broke free of his two friends who are really there to bully him and pester him to follow this path of overthrowing the natural order and the world order with unbridled magical powers. He ended up killing one of those two friends and stealing a very important magical book from his master, and using what powers and magic that he was able to read from that book, was able to bust his way out of their stronghold, go on the run, disguise himself, until he managed to just make it to a city. Now then, that makes it all sound like we're going down the route of Caleb Widowgast, except remember this guy is a teenager. Teenagers are weird. Teenagers do silly things. Teenagers do stupid things. And teenage boys are horny. So Zyak, now emboldened with freedom, he's not going to go back home. He's not going to worry about this cult other than to try to stay away from them. He's got powers. He's got an awesome book. Well, what is he going to do with his life? Well, he's going to adventure around. He doesn't know where he is, per se. He'll eventually try to make his way back home, wherever that might be, and figure out what happened to his family. But until then, he is going to enjoy himself along the way. He's going to make money. He's going to meet women. He's going to be sleeping around. He's going to be having a good old time because he's not been able to enjoy his life up until this moment. So he's going to take every opportunity with this freedom in order to enjoy himself and live life to the fullest, until he gets captured by a bunch of mind flayers, and that throws us into the events of Baldur's Gate 3. So what I want to do is I want to take that kind of mentality. I want to take that character and I want to put him into the game Baldur's Gate, and I want to see where we go with him. Try to roleplay him as best as I can within the game given what limited options I do have, and just have fun and see what we can do with character progression and character choice when we have not just the player, but Zyak the Horny Wizard in this particular setting. Let's see what we can do with him. If you would like to see how that all plays out, then I will go through with this particular project. If not, if this video happens to be a bust and no one wants to see this happen, that's totally fine too. I'll then just play Baldur's Gate on my own when I have the free time. I'll enjoy myself and continue doing what I do here on YouTube and with my writing career. However, if you do really want to see me take Zyak the Horny Wizard on a quest to Baldur's Gate and to cleanse himself of what the Mind Flayers have done to him and whatever else is going to happen in this game, then I will try to make this an actual series that we do here on Camille's Harem, and have that chance to explore a character. And if I can make this happen, I cannot fully promise this just because of the fact I live in an internet black hole. But if at all possible, I will even live stream what it's like to play Zyak the Horny Wizard in Baldur's Gate. And if you'd like to see that happen, let me know in the comments, because if so, I will move heaven and earth to bring to you the weirdest, dumbest teenage wizard into Baldur's Gate, and we are going to have some great fun. And especially if I can make the live stream work, then it will be a great opportunity to talk with me in real time about writing your own stories, playing D&D, whatever you want, and we'll also see if we can get the other members of Camille's Harem in on it, so that way we can just have, again, that good fun of you guys being able to interact with us in real time, because honestly, that's just a whole lot of fun. And that's what D&D is all about, bringing people together, having a shared storytelling experience, and enjoying that camaraderie. And that's something that I do fear is missing from Baldur's Gate 3. From what I've been able to play so far, it has been a really fun game, but it is missing that shared storytelling experience. It's just me guiding the quest along. And sure, it is fun to have that kind of power, to have that autonomy within a fantasy setting, but it is lacking that absolutely crucial element that makes D&D so special. So if I can bring that into my own Baldur's Gate experience, that would be phenomenal. But again, that really does depend upon you, because making these kinds of videos, doing those live streams, will be time consuming. And if it's not something that you want from us, if it's not something that you find interesting, then it's not something then that I want to spend a lot of time and resources on, because this as well is a shared experience between writers and people here on YouTube. If we're not having that camaraderie between each other, if we're not having that connection, that understanding, then we're not really doing our part as Camille's Harem and helping you out. So that's why I want your feedback on whether or not Zyak the Horny Wizard will have his opportunity to go through the entire quest here on YouTube, or if this is just something that I play out in my own free time. So, with all that being said, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible adventure we call writing. You can support us by checking out the different books that we have published. Links for them are in the description below. You can also head on over to our other videos and check them out as well, especially if you are a novice author. And if I can give you just one more selling point for Zyak the Horny Storyteller, I will be doing voices for all of the characters if I do a live stream playthrough. So just bear that in mind. Thank you guys so much once again for joining us on this adventure that we call writing, and until the next video, y'all, tschüss.